What's going on, everyone? Welcome to Busy Dad's Board Gaming. My name is Neil Odette, and today we're going to be doing an unboxing of Paper Tales Beyond the Gates. Now, this is an expansion to Paper Tales, and if you haven't already watched that unboxing, you can check the description below for links to that. This game was published by Stronghold Games, who was actually kind enough to provide me with a copy of the game. But without further ado, let's dive right into it. Taking a look at the front, you can see that the art is very similar to Paper Tales, which makes sense because the artist, again, is Christine Alcoff. You have this beautiful stained glass mural of a key on this one, whereas on Paper Tales, the base game, it was of the king. As mentioned before, this is, of course, published by Stronghold Games. And the designer for this, again, is Masato Yusugi. Let's flip it on over and take a look at what's on the back. As you can see from the back, just like Paper Tales, age is 12 plus. This is actually 1 to 7 players with the expansion, where the base game was 2 to 5. And again, still taking around that 30-minute mark. Blinded by their quest for power, kingdoms progressively break the barriers of forbidden knowledge. In occult and illicit places, necromancers and alchemists dig deeper each day towards the doors of the Underworld, at the risk of awakening something that goes far beyond their imagination. So in this box, you get 20 new units, 6 new buildings, as well as a solo mode, which I think is actually really great. And it also comes with the components, as I mentioned, for play with up to 7 players, which again is great if you have bigger groups or if you'd like to play this solo, which I fully intend on trying out. I'm actually quite excited for this. So let's go ahead and peel back the plastic and dive on into what's in the box. So taking off the top of the box, you can see the rule book, obviously, as you would expect, with an overview and components. Looking deeper in, tells you how to integrate the new cards, new buildings, as well as the solo mode. So these rules don't actually affect the normal game. These rules are specifically for the solo mode. So the game flow follows the same 6 phases as before, with recruit, deployment, wars, income, construction, and aging. It goes over the anatomy of the new Necropolis cards, if you were to use those. And then it goes into changes of the phases if you're playing a solo mode. So if you're playing against the Lich King, which is who you're playing against in the solo mode, it just goes over some of those changes and lets you know what happens during each of those phases. So for instance, there's a change to the recruitment phase. However, there's no mention of any sort of changes to the deployment phase. Then we get into changes to the war phase, and then on the back you have end of turn and then end of game, so how you win in solo mode. Taking a look under the rule book, you can see that we have some new tokens. You have new buildings: the Abbey, Library, Barracks, Back Room, Black Market, Crypt, and Port, as well as some tokens if anybody was to surpass the 50 mark on the score track with the base game. You can take one of these tokens and just start from the beginning. The way these new buildings work is when you're setting up for a game, each player is going to take the mine, tavern, temple, and town from the base game, and then shuffle these 7 building tiles together face down, and then randomly reveal 3. Then each player is going to take the corresponding card to each of these, and then everyone will end up with 7 buildings as opposed to the 5 buildings that you'd have in just the base game. So how that's going to work out with additional abilities and resources that you're going to gain from those buildings, it's going to be interesting to see, to say the least. So underneath that, we've got a couple of decks of cards and 2 new tokens for the 6th and 7th player. So let's dive into the cards and see what we've got here. So some of the new cards, no change to the layout of the cards. You still have the name, how many are actually in the deck. So 3 in the case of the young sorcerer here. The deployment cost, which is 0, strength, and then the ability, and if it provides any resources, i.e. right here with the dryad. So I'm just going to slowly go through these. Feel free to pause the video at any time if you'd like to take a further look at some of these abilities and resources on these cards. Okay, and then we get into the buildings. So there should be 7 of these. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so perfect. Yeah, 7 of each, so that they can be distributed amongst the 7 players if you have that many. And of course, just like the base game, they have their first side and then their upgraded side, the number 2 side, that provides more resources and abilities at the bottom. And I suspect that the second deck will be much the same. Again, more buildings, so the back room, port, the mine, temple, tavern. So these ones here, there will only be 2 because the base game already comes with 5 of these. And then these here are your, if I make sure I get these right, the Necropolis cards. So these are a little bit different. So based on the card anatomy, this here is your immediate gain. So the Lich King gains these legend points. You'll get your quest bonus down here. So the Lich King can earn these legend points each turn every time that he meets the indicated requirement. The strength of the Necropolis cards. So the military value of the Lich King's black and purple armies. Sorry, quest bonus was down here. I said it was here. These are the different armies, so black and purple armies. This here is the quest bonus. And then finally, up here, turn icon. So the turn on which the card can come into play. So whether it's first, second, third, or fourth. And then in the back, you have 2 new reference cards for the 6th and 7th player, as well as the Army of the Lich King game turn if you were to play the solo mode. So it gives you the setup and then the actual game turn. But that is pretty much it. I'm pretty excited to dive into this and try the solo mode. I was a big fan of the base game, so how this works out, we'll see. Hopefully I'm able to post a playthrough of that, so keep an eye out for that on the channel in the coming future. But until then, please feel free to subscribe and like this video and share it with some friends and family, as it goes a long way in building the channel. As well as always, you can find me on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. But until next time, thanks for watching and happy gaming.